Hey, what's up everyone, and welcome to the Maximizing DeFi Injective Guide video, where I'm going to tell you guys about all the different opportunities for you to leverage your Injective in the DeFi scene in order to maximize your gains. Now, in this video, I'm going to show you guys a couple of protocols that are already out and released that you can actually mess with now, as well as give you guys some projects that have yet to release, as well as some additional tips that I have when you start diving into this DeFi scene. Without further ado, guys, let's get into it. Now, the first way to make money in your Injective is simply by staking it, guys, to the different validators in order to earn about 16% APR and, more importantly, qualify for different airdrops coming up. One of the really nice things about getting into Injective or these different Cosmos tokens is that you can already get a decent yield simply by staking those tokens. It's about 16% APR right now if you go to stake it on your Kepler dashboard, for example, and I would recommend staking to a couple different validators that are outside of the top 10 and even outside of the top 25. Now, I've made a lot of different video guides on this in the past, but I recommend doing at least $150 worth of Injective in each validator you do. And if you have a lot of Injective, potentially open up multiple wallets and staking $150 in each of them. Now, if you don't have a ton of funds to really spread around, I really recommend the Black Panther as well as the Talus protocol, since Talus already has tokens with their largest NFT marketplace, and you'll probably be able to get some airdrops from that consistently. And then Black Panther has yet to actually release their token, and you're going to be able to get their token as well for validating with them. So option one is simply stake, don't even touch it, and this is the most passive option you have. Just as another tip that I've said in my other Injective airdrop video guides in the past, definitely use this Cosmos Leap wallet extension in order to explore the different airdrops and make sure you are claiming them in time and voting on different governance proposals. If you notice, guys, on this Injective tab, you can hit these active proposals, and it's going to be important for you to qualify for some of these airdrops. And then, of course, you can look at this whole entire airdrop dashboard in order to see the different ones you did qualify for. Now, as we get into this next part of this video where you can actually learn how to get some pretty insane APRs right now on Injective, I want you guys to save this site. This is the hub.injective.network/wallet. Now, one of the interesting things about the whole entire Injective chain is that you have both CW20 tokens as well as banked tokens. And one of the things that can be confusing for people that are getting involved is you might do something on the DeFi scene, but now all of a sudden your tokens are actually on CW20 and you can't actually access or trade those tokens. So you're going to have to go into this Injective hub in some scenarios and actually do a convert option here where you can convert that from CW20 over to bank. So if you run into any issues and you can't find your tokens and you're freaking out, just realize that it's probably on CW20 rather than bank, and it only takes a couple minutes to hit this convert button and convert it over. Now, the first yield opportunity on this that's a little bit more active is actually going to be DojoSwap. Now, I covered DojoSwap a couple days ago, right before it released. And if you listened to my video and actually got into that token, you'd be sitting at over a 2x right now. The token price was 0.00375 Injective per token. So you're actually above a 2x if you got in like I said you guys should. And on top of that, you would have been able to get a lot of different yield that's been coming out on their whole entire decentralized exchange. Now, when you go to this decentralized exchange, guys, you can actually go to the farm tab and you're going to be able to see all of these different pools that they have. Now, a lot of times it's just like other chains, if you're used to it, where you can provide liquidity to these different pairs in order to get a yield. Now, one of the reasons I really like DojoSwap is even if you aren't investing in DojoSwap or you don't want the risk of holding that token, you can go into these other farms and still get a very high APR because people don't know about this yet because it just came out somewhat recently. Right now, the pairs that I really like are the TIA Injective liquidity pair. I like that pair because there's not going to be a lot of impermanent loss because Injective and TIA usually go up together, and I'm getting around 176% on that right now. I also like the D-Injective and Injective pair, which is using their new liquid Injective staking in order to have this pair. So the D-Injective should always be the same price as one Injective, and you're able to get 220% APR right now by doing that. So much larger gains than the 16% that you are simply getting from staking your Injective. And if you're someone that doesn't want to mess with a lot of other tokens, I really recommend doing this one before it actually gets too oversaturated and the emissions drop. Another reason I really like DojoSwap too, though, guys, is because I think that this token is actually going to be a performer at least for the next 2 weeks. And the more I learn about the project and the more more that I see them doing, the more I think that this could actually be a long-term player. In my previous analysis on DojoSwap, I didn't realize that their governance token would be able to actually vote to burn up to 50% of all the token supply. I also didn't realize that they have multiple projects launching on their launch pad pretty soon as well. So I actually think this token could be a performer, not only in the short term, but the longer term. But just be a little more careful, guys, because a high emissions token like this can have a lot more sell pressure than other tokens we're used to, especially since the circulating market cap is pretty low. Outside of the farms, you can also go to their pools tab and you can stake your dojo as well as your points if you were someone farming this before they actually released their token, as far as the point side, which once again, I covered in a video if you didn't look at that. But right now you're getting about 470% APR on Dojo. It was actually a lot higher at the very start. And I've personally been staking some of my Dojo because I think it can, at the minimum, hold the price it's at over the next week or two. And honestly, I think that there's a chance that this could actually pump in price during that time as well and kind of give you double gains, both on the staking as well as the Dojo token going up in price. And the nice thing is this staking you can remove at any time. It's not locked. Now, I want to go through an example of how to actually provide liquidity when it comes to this platform in case you aren't aware of how to do this. And I'm actually going to show you guys how to do this with their liquid staking, which is their D-injective and injective pair, where you can pretty much hold injective and injective and get 220% APR right now. So what you guys are going to want to do is whenever you provide liquidity to a token pair, you have to have the same amount of dollars worth on each side. So I have to have the same amount of injective as D-injective in order to combine that into one token called an LP token. Then with that LP token, I can add it to some sort of farm and get that APR. So in this situation, guys, I know that I have to pair half injective and half D-injective. So if I want to do 20 injective on this farm, I'm going to only switch over 10 of my injective. So what I'm going to do is hit stake, guys, and it's going to say that this token is locked for a total of 24 days. Now, what's really nice about staking on some sort of liquid site like this is even though it might take 24 days to withdraw and get my injective back, at any point in time, I can simply just sell that D-injective on some sort of exchange such as DojoSwap. So I constantly have that liquidity without actually needing to lock up that token. So now that this has swapped, I now have 10 D-injective and 10 injective. At this point in time, guys, when you have the equal amount of two different tokens, I can now go towards liquidity and I can add those tokens together. So I'm going to scroll down here and hit D-injective. And in this situation, I'm going to do the max amount of D-injective. And now it is going to pair with the equal amount of actual injective token. Now, what you'll realize is D-injective and injective should always be around the same price. But sometimes a lot of people are selling their D-injective because they can get that instant liquidity. So sometimes they'll go a little bit lower than injective. But don't worry, guys, it'll never break its peg because even if D-injective went down to 0.95 injective, you can always just withdraw your injective, wait 24 days, and be able to get that full amount back. Now that I have this liquidity pair, I can go on this earn tab. And what you guys are going to do is look for farms that have that pair. So for example, I can now add to this D-injective because I have that liquidity token. I hit deposit. And now after I deposit this, I'm going to start getting that yield on these tokens. It's as simple as that. Now, one thing to notice, guys, is that when you actually go to your Injective Wallet, you'll notice that these different tokens are actually CW20 tokens. So if you're someone that wants to withdraw your actual liquidity, you are going to have to do the reverse of this. And it's not showing up here right now, but you can see the Gryphin down here is a CW20 token. So at any point in time, guys, is if you actually want to withdraw that liquidity, you can hit max here, you can withdraw, and I'll just walk you guys through the process. And this is going to be the same for every single DEX out there. Hit approve, and now I'm going to have that liquidity pair back. Now, what's really interesting is once you have that liquidity pair, you guys have to go back to the swap function and you have to go to withdrawal. And now you can withdraw this injective and D-injective back to your actual wallet. All you have to do is hit withdrawal, and then you'll wait a little bit, and now you'll get those tokens back. Now, in this situation, guys, it actually does allow me to trade that D-injective automatically on this swap. Previously, there must have been some sort of glitch with their CW20 versus bank. And if you guys run into that glitch again, like I had previously, that's when you're going to have to do that convert over here. But luckily for us in this situation, it looks like they might have fixed that bug, and I can actually swap out of that D-injective immediately. And it doesn't matter what farm you guys are doing over here, guys, you're going to be able to go through the same process that I just said. The only things that you guys have to be aware of when it comes to this liquid staking of Injective is sometimes they won't actually get the airdrops from other projects because they know this is a liquid staking protocol. So just realize there is a potential of an opportunity cost of you not being able to qualify and claim all of these other airdrops happening in Injective, and you have to weigh that in when it comes to what you want to do with your Injective. You guys also have to be aware that there is impermanent loss when it comes to farming. So let's say I had a pair such as TIA and Injective. If TIA went on a massive run and Injective didn't go on much as a run, then what would happen is when I pull out that liquidity pair, I still have to get the same amount of dollar value of TIA as well as Injective. So now all of a sudden, when I pull out that liquidity pair and TIA went on a massive run and Injective didn't, when I pull out, I'm actually going to get back less TIA and I'm going to get back more Injective. So they call this impermanent loss because you lost out on the opportunity of simply holding TIA and making larger gains. So that's just something to take into consideration, guys, when you're looking at these different APRs. Another last thing that I want to say about DojoSwap in particular is that they are actually going to be reducing their emissions sometime in the next couple of days. So your APRs are going to go down unless the price of the token goes up, which I think it will because there'll be less selling pressure. All right, guys, the next projects are going to be a little bit quicker here. I just wanted to give that full explanation because a lot of people have been asking me questions about how it works. The next thing that I want to bring up here to actually leverage your Injective is going to be Helix. Now, Helix is an order book, decentralized exchange. They've got automated trading bots. They're going to have their token in the future that you can start farming for. And on top of that, you can actually earn a yield on your different tokens by adding liquidity. Now, it's not an AMM DEX like we just saw with DojoSwap, but instead you have these different liquidity bots that automatically make different trades in the order book and create these arbitrage opportunities. And when it does this, you'll actually earn an APR or a yield, even if the price of the token is going up or down. Now, please be aware, guys, with these liquidity bots that you can actually lose money with them, but for the most part, you are going to make money over the longer span of time. And then on top of that, you're actually going to be farming their upcoming airdrop, which is going to be super, super profitable. Probably the most profitable airdrop we'll see on Injective for a while for the time being. But all you guys have to do for this is you have to pick a pair that you want to hold. So let's say I want to hold TIA or Atom or Injective. All I have to do is, if I just want to deposit TIA, for example, I can put that TIA amount in and then I can hit create strategy. And I always choose auto just because I'm not as technically advanced to go through all this manual selection. And then what will happen is if you go to trade and then you go to trading bots, you're going to be able to see all of the different bots that you currently have. Now, I recently got rid of one of my bots, but I was farming this for a while and just really racking up points in their back end for their upcoming airdrop because I think it's one of the things that they're looking for. So not only can you earn an APR, but you can also potentially earn their airdrop or even more of their airdrop. Now, once again, this is Injective that you have to actively use that isn't staking. So there's an opportunity cost in that. We also don't know the APR for this. It's hard to calculate and they haven't really shown the calculation. And then at the same time, you now have to be holding half USDT. So now there's an opportunity cost in case Injective goes on a massive run, half of your money was stuck in USDT. But overall, I think that this one is pretty solid. And if you have some money, I'd at least do $150, $250 worth in this liquidity bot and just don't even look at it and really rack up points. And potentially that airdrop will outweigh all of the other opportunity costs you have. The next project that I want to go over here is another liquid staking protocol that actually hasn't come out with their token. Now, this is Injective and Injective, and this is actually on the new Gryphin platform. And what's really bullish about this one in particular is they already got launched on Helix, which is a pretty big deal in the Injective space. Now, when it comes to Gryphin, what you guys are going to do is you're going to need an invite code to actually get started. I'm going to have my invite code in the description of this YouTube video. And I actually took the time to add enough Injective to make that a permanent invite code so as many people can use it as they'd like. But if you don't want to actually use my invite code, or if you want to share your invite code to other places, definitely go on Twitter and type in Gryphin access code or Gryphin invite code. And there's probably going to be some people that have their codes listed on there. But this is very similar to what we just did with Dojo, where all you have to do, guys, is you have to put in a certain amount of Injective, and then in exchange, you get that N Injective. And then literally that's all you do, guys. Once you do that, you're going to be earning their yield. I think it's something like 13.5% on your Injective. Once again, you have the opportunity cost of potentially missing out on broader airdrops, but you know that you'll be able to qualify for this Gryphin airdrop. And then on top of that, you can also invite other people into this platform and also get an additional yield when other people sign up. And I believe they actually get an additional benefit as well. So pretty interesting. I have this one on the list just because I think that you can get an airdrop on top of that injective staking. And I wanted to at least have it on your guys' radar because they're already listed on Helix as well. One other thing that I'm going to have in the YouTube description, if you're going to want to go for this one, is their Galaxy. This is where they have some different tasks, including following them on Twitter, posting your injective address, joining their Telegram, joining their Discord, and you need to complete all of these tasks to get a special role. And I think this is ending sometime in the next 2 to 3 days. And it's probably the cutoff for you to get this airdrop. For this one in particular, guys, you are going to have that Gryphin on the CW20. So if you ever wanted to sell that Gryphin and get out of your injective position or get your injective back, you are going to have to convert this from CW20 over to bank. And then you can go on Helix and you can now sell that N injective and injective pair. But remember, you have to convert that from CW20 to bank. Otherwise, you're going to freak out and be like, where are my tokens? And the moment that you convert that out of CW20, you are no longer going to be shown as staking on their site. The next platform here is going to be Black Panther, and they have some different vaults where you can simply deposit your injective, for example, in order to get a yield on it, as well as accumulate points for their upcoming airdrop as well. Now, you can look at some of these different APRs and pick the one you like. I think the one that I personally was using for a while is this straight up injective one. Currently, they're getting about 114.4% APR. And once again, you are also going to get the benefits of getting an airdrop as well. All you have to do for this one, guys, is deposit your injective. Once again, that is now going to be split between half injective and half USDT, just like we saw with Helix. And then once you deposit your injective, you're going to get tokens that you can stake, which you can stake over here. And then at any point in time, you can claim rewards, which are going to be these different points. One thing that you have to note that's different with this platform over Helix is that when you do go to withdraw your actual stake, you are going to get hit with a 1% withdrawal. So it's another one of those scenarios where if you don't want to put a lot of money into this, maybe put $150 to $250 and just start to rack up some points for their upcoming airdrop, as well as stake to their validator. The last mainnet version of an actual project on Injective that you can get a yield on is going to be Astroport. Now, Astroport is similar to DojoSwap, where you can have different pairs and earn a yield or earn an APR. But what you'll notice, guys, is all of these APRs are significantly lower than DojoSwap. So right now, your best bang for your buck as far as actually getting a yield on Injective DeFi is going to be going on DojoSwap. DojoSwap already in just a couple weeks and only a couple days of their token releasing has a 16.27 million TVL, which is the highest out of all of the different DeFi and dApps on Injective. And it really is one of the best places to get a yield right now, in my opinion. Just note that once again, you are not actually going to be getting any airdrops, most likely from other projects or from Dojo, because that token is already released. I also want to tell you guys that if you ever want to look at different DeFi opportunities or different places where you could potentially put your money, DeFi Llama is a great place to really track this TVL and see where the money is flowing. As far as projects that have yet to release that you should keep on your radar, if you're someone that wants to get into the DeFi side of things and really boost up your yield, is going to be Mito Finance. Now, Mito Finance, just like Black Panther, also has their whole entire vaults, and they're going to have different real world asset vaults to the best of my knowledge, as well as just a bunch of different really cool vaults that basically automate your trading. Now, right now, this is still on the test net, but we're expecting their mainnet to be coming out sometime within the next month or two. And I think if you can put your money in right away to some of these different vaults, very similar to what we were just looking at, such as the Injective and USDT vault, you can probably get a very high APR in the beginning. And I think this is one of those platforms to really keep an eye on. Another liquid staking platform that's going to be coming out soon as well is called Hydro. And a lot of people have really been paying attention to this one. I think their actual test net, different challenges in order to get an airdrop is over. If you watched my whole entire guide on this, you would have already been farming it. But once they actually go live, I believe it's on the 30th of January, you might want to get some of your Injective and get this synthetic Injective on Hydro, because they'll probably have some additional incentives or at least high APRs in the beginning, whether that's through their liquid staking, their auto compound, their farm, stuff like that. So definitely keep an eye on this protocol. The last other one that I wanted to show you guys too is also in their test net, and it's called Neptune Finance. Finance. I believe you can still grind out some of this testnet in order to potentially get an airdrop. It might have closed. I don't remember as of right now. But if you're someone that's going to want to lend or borrow Injective or USDT or something like that in the future, this is going to be one of those platforms where you can actually supply that and lend that out in order to get a yield. Or if you're really bullish on the market right now, you can borrow and hopefully pay it back once you actually made more money than the interest you're paying. So definitely another one to at least keep on your radar. That pretty much wraps up the whole entire Injective DeFi guide farming video. I gave you guys all of the different options out there right now when it comes to the space and being able to get an additional yield. In my opinion, guys, it makes a lot of sense to hold at least a portion of your money into staking Injective just to be able to qualify for a lot of those different airdrops, at least $150 worth in my opinion. And if you're someone that wants to venture out and get an additional yield, I really like the 220% APR right now that you get on Injective in the D-Injective pair. It's literally a no-brainer in my opinion. The opportunity cost of not getting some airdrops potentially does suck, but the actual APR on this is just so high right now while still being able to hold 100% Injective. And with you being able to sell that Injective anytime you want while still getting those different gains, I think it's kind of a no-brainer. And I know that they have their launchpad coming out with more projects in the near future, and you might be able to even get a boost. Just a little bit of speculation there. I also think if you have some additional funds, it might make sense to have a vault opened on Black Panther, as well as maybe a liquidity bot on Helix, just so you can farm some of those airdrops and get an additional APR, APY on top of that. But once again, with those different options, guys, now all of a sudden half of your money has to be a stable coin when we're more in a bullish market. And once again, now you're definitely going to be missing out on airdrops because that Injective isn't staked at all. I also, as a last thing, really do like the different DojoSwap farms. One of the farms that I really like is that TIA and Injective pair, just because I'm so bullish on both of these tokens. And usually they go up in price pretty similarly. So I'm able to get a decent APR while being able to hold two tokens that I really like as well. That wraps up this video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch y'all in the